thankfully this season we've had, many good weeks, and last week wasn't meant to be for different reasons, and it's always an honour to meet up with Scotland. It's always a pleasure to meet up with the lads again, to have fresh faces, to take a break from a really intense period of time as well from Liverpool. So I'm looking forward to this week. It's been nice, and it's made it easier getting over the disappointment.
Yes, and, sorry. Obviously there was a. You have the translator. Oh, sorry.
Η ερώτηση λοιπόν ήταν για τον αρχηγό της ομάδας, πώς αισθάνεται που βρίσκεται πάλι με την ομάδα. Μας είπε ότι ήταν μια δύσκολη εβδομάδα. Χαίρεται όμως που είναι πάλι με την εθνική, παρόλο που είναι έντονη η περίοδος με τη Liverpool. Είναι ωραίο που μαζεύονται, που υπάρχουν νέα πρόσωπα, φρέσκα πρόσωπα και είναι έτοιμοι για την εβδομάδα αυτή που έχουν τα δύο παιχνίδια με την εθνική μας.
Andy, there was such a strong finish to the Nations campaign. How important is it to carry that on, and how much confidence did that finish give you in the hope that you can do that?
Yeah, I think when we look back on the Nations League campaign, I think there was a lot of positives to take from it. I think we competed in every single game, which, when you're in the pot one and you're playing against the teams that we played against, it was always going to be difficult. But I think, like I said, we were always in every game. I think we always showed up, and the games were maybe decided in fine margins, which didn't quite go our way, but the ending was good. 2 wins in November, a draw in October, which kind of set us up for this game, which was really pleasing for us. But I think the confidence was growing within us again, and I think you've seen that within the performances. Croatia away could easily have went the other way, Portugal away could have went the other way as well, and these are top nations we're talking about, and I think we held our own, which is pleasing, and then we want more of that.
Η ερώτηση αφορούσε στα παιχνίδια του Nations, στη διοργάνωση, πώς πήγανε και αν αυτή η εμπιστοσύνη που απέκτησαν από αυτά τα παιχνίδια συνεχίζεται και τώρα. Είπαν ότι ήταν μια διοργάνωση από την οποία αποκόμισαν πάρα πολλά θετικά σημεία. Ξέραν ότι ήταν δύσκολο να παίζουν απέναντι σε τέτοιες ομάδες τέτοιου επίπεδου. Είχαν 2 νίκες, μια ισοπαλία. Είδαν όμως ότι μπορούν να χτίσουν πάνω στα θετικά σημεία τα οποία αποκτήσαν από αυτά τα παιχνίδια. Είδαμε και στην Κροατία και στην Πορτογαλία τα παιχνίδια θα μπορούσαν να είχαν πάει από την άλλη πλευρά, να είχαν εξελιχθεί αλλιώς για αυτούς. Αλλά είναι ευχάριστα όλα όσα κρατάνε από τα παιχνίδια αυτά και το πώς τελειώσανε και με νίκη στην διοργάνωση του Nations League.
Andy, in a season where there's so many highs at club level, and obviously a couple of lows recently, but so many highs for you, where does the moment in Poland with Scotland last time out come, the goal that gets us here?
Yeah, right up there. I look back on it where, I kind of judge my moments or memories in football with how much I smile when I watch them back. And I've not scored many goals in my whole career, and certainly not a lot for Scotland. So the fact that it was an important goal, the fact that it was so late on and things like that, and I think when I look back on that performance, that was the least we deserved within that night. I thought we were excellent. Obviously, the goal they scored was an absolute worldie, and I think we deserved the 3 points, and I don't think anyone could add too many complaints. So obviously we were pressing at the end, and I was just happy to kind of pop up, and John Souttar put in a lovely ball, and it was there to be attacked, and thankfully I put it in the back of the net, which makes these games possible. So look, it was pleasing. It was a really good camp, that one. Obviously 2 wins and the way we'd won it as well, and now it sets us up for these games, and hopefully we can capitalise on the opportunity we've been given.
Sorry, is this the game against Poland you're talking about? Yeah. Τον ρωτήσανε λοιπόν, η ερώτηση αφορούσε στο τελευταίο παιχνίδι που νικήσανε 2-1 με την Πολωνία και για τον γκολ που σημείωσε σε αυτόν τον αγώνα. Μας είπε ότι ήταν ένα πάρα πολύ σημαντικό γκολ. Έχει πετύχει πολλά γκολ στην καριέρα του, αλλά ήταν ένα γκολ που τους χάρισε τους 3 βαθμούς απέναντι στο παιχνίδι με την Πολωνία. Πήρε την πάσα από τον Τζόνσον και ήταν πάρα πολύ ευχάριστη στιγμή και ελπίζουν ότι θα μπορέσουν να μεγιστοποιήσουν αυτή την ευκαιρία απέναντι στα 2 παιχνίδια που έχουν τώρα στη διάθεσή τους στα play-off.
Andy, when it's 4 months between Scotland games, how difficult is it to kind of pick up the threads again and carry on a sense of momentum, because it's so different from club stuff when it's every 3 or 4 games, every 3 or 4 days that you're playing?
Yeah, look, obviously the November to March one is the longest time we go without seeing each other, and that then allows people fresh faces to come in, and obviously some people then don't come in from the November camp and things like that. But I suppose it gives you a time to reflect. It gives you time to see what we were doing well, see what we maybe weren't doing so well, and yeah, you just try and pick up where you left off. I think every time we meet up, we enjoy meeting up with the lads and training on Mondays if we've been together all day weeks in between, and I think that's the good thing about this squad. But then when it comes to the game, we have to try and keep the rhythm of where we are, and that's not easy. It is always difficult, but it's important that we stick to the principles that we've got, the kind of basic ones, and then obviously the more complicated ones then kind of come into it during the game when you start getting a feel for it again. So that's always been the case, and we're lucky that the core of the group more often or not kind of stays together, and we add new players here and there, and I think quite quickly they know what's expected of them, and I think that makes it easier, and hopefully we can pick up from where we left off in November.
Η ερώτηση ήταν πόσο δύσκολο είναι, γιατί έχουν να συγκεντρωθούν ως ομάδα από τον Νοέμβριο και έχουν μόνο 3-4 μέρες στη διάθεσή τους για να μπουν σε ρυθμό. Είναι λέει πολύ μεγάλο το διάστημα όντως από τον Νοέμβριο που δεν έχουν βρεθεί. Υπάρχουν νέα πρόσωπα στην ομάδα. Βλέπουν τι είχαν κάνει καλά στα προηγούμενα παιχνίδια και τι όχι, τι μπορούν να βελτιώσουν ώστε να συνεχίσουν από εκεί που είχαν μείνει. Προσπαθούν, λέει, είναι τυχεροί γιατί ένας βασικός κορμός παραμένει ο ίδιος με τα νέα πρόσωπα και τα παιδιά που έρχονται προσαρμόζονται, βλέπουν τις αρχές και προσπαθούν όλοι μαζί να συνεχίσουν όπως πηγαίνανε μέχρι τώρα.
Andy, how do you feel about your own form in general this season? And see when you hear rumours that down south about Liverpool and for different left backs, does that just drive you on to be even more successful and playing at such a high level?
Yeah, I think we've been linked with pretty much every left back in the world. But look, that's part and parcel of it. You play for one of the biggest clubs in the world. I've been very lucky that I wouldn't put it down to luck, but I look back on these 8 years that I've had there, and I've been the starting left back at one of the best clubs in the world for that long, and that's something I'm very proud of. Within myself, and your time comes, and I don't think my time is there yet. But whatever happens with the club now, whether we do bring in somebody or we don't bring in somebody, then so be it. But I think I always back myself. Look, there's been a couple of moments this season where I've maybe not covered myself in glory and things like that, but I also think maybe other things have been took way out of proportion. I think certainly the last couple of months, I think the performance levels have been there for me. I think the performance levels have been there for the team, which makes it easier. But I think, if you look back on probably all the games this season, then I've had a relatively good season. But when you're so used to, I think the one thing that people would say about my time at Liverpool is I've been pretty consistent. And when you maybe make slight mistakes that aren't, necessarily put towards your name, then people can talk, and that's the world we live in. It's the Premier League for you. Everyone has eyes on you. Everyone has an opinion, and sometimes you agree with the opinion, sometimes you don't. And it is what it is. For me, I'm always confident, in my ability. I think I've shown that over, my whole career. I think I've shown that, especially at my time at Liverpool, and hopefully that can continue.
Τον ερωτήσανε για την απόδοσή του στην ομάδα του στη Liverpool. Μας είπε ότι παίζει σε μία από τις μεγαλύτερες ομάδες στον κόσμο. Είναι εκεί για 8 χρόνια. Είναι πάρα πολύ περήφανος για την ομάδα στην οποία βρίσκεται. Θεωρεί ότι ακόμα έχει καιρό μπροστά του. Φέτος λέει ότι θεωρεί ότι έχει καλή απόδοση, ψηλή απόδοση. Τον βοηθάει φυσικά και ότι η ομάδα βρίσκεται σε πάρα πολύ καλή απόδοση. Γενικά έχουν μια καλή σεζόν. Θεωρεί ότι και ο ίδιος έχει συνέπεια στην απόδοσή του. Είναι, λέει, Premier League. Είναι ένα πρωτάθλημα στο οποίο όλοι σε κοιτάνε. Έχει όμως εμπιστοσύνη στις δυνάμεις του και συνεχίζει στον ίδιο ρυθμό.
The quirks of international football, sometimes you come up against club teammates on the international field. Selection and injury permitting, that could happen tomorrow night here with Consta. Has he given you any insight? Has there been any kind of to and fro ahead of the match?
No, honestly, no. I think there's quite maybe a few teams, a few of the lads in the change room that are playing each other in this camp, and I think our schedule's been that hectic from January that we've not had a minute to think. We've just been focusing on next game to next game, and you don't really even think about it. Then obviously, the disappointment happens on Sunday and everyone goes their own way and there's not much discussion. So, look, Kostas has obviously, been at Liverpool now maybe 4 or 5 years, and obviously we're fighting for the same position. But I think there's always been, a respect there between each other, and so I'll be looking forward to playing against them. I've played against quite a few of my teammates, obviously. Last year with Portugal and Hungary and things like that. So, I'll add him to the list. But hopefully we can maybe get a better result against him than we did against the others.
You asked about Tsimikas, right? Yeah. Η ερώτηση αφορούσε πώς θα παίξει αύριο απέναντι σε ένα συμπαίκτη του και γενικά πώς είναι τα πράγματα. Μας λέει ότι τα παιχνίδια όταν παίζει σε επίπεδο ομάδας είναι βαρύ το πρόγραμμα, ειδικά από τον Ιανουάριο, κοιτάνε από παιχνίδι σε παιχνίδι. Υπάρχει αμοιβαίος σεβασμός με τον Κώστα τον Τσιμίκα. Έχουν παίξει παιχνίδια δύσκολα και οι ίδιοι απέναντι σε ομάδες όπως η Πορτογαλία και η Ουγγαρία, αλλά σε κάθε περίπτωση αύριο μπαίνουν στον αγώνα και κοιτάνε τι καλύτερο μπορεί να κάνει ο καθένας για την ομάδα τους.
Just one final one for me. The Greek manager was trying to be a bit cute and say that they weren't the favourites. Scotland are a Nations League A team and they've been playing at this high level, getting great results. How do you see this match? Is it a meeting of equals, and how prestigious would it be if Scotland could retain its top-tier status?
Yeah, look, when the Nations League started, I don't think any country knew how important it would be or if it would be a hindrance, but I think from our point of view it's been very important in terms of qualifying for the first Euros, and then obviously probably building our confidence at that time as well. And I think we were maybe in Group C at that point, but the aim was always to get to the top, and we managed that. We got to Group A, and once you get there you want to stay there. So I think Greece are a fantastic team. Obviously got an excellent result at Wembley, and gave England 2 really hard games, and they were in a tough group as well with Ireland and things like that. So since they've changed the manager, I think their results have really picked up, and I think they'll be a difficult team to beat. But I think if we played our best, we're also a difficult team to beat. So it'll be interesting. I think we're fairly evenly matched, and it will be interesting to see how the tie goes. But we're just looking forward to the 2 games. We're looking forward to tomorrow night because that's the first game ahead of us, and we'll try and show up the best we can. And if we do that, then we believe that we can win.
Η ερώτηση αφορούσε στο ότι ο Έλληνας προπονητής εξέφρασε εμπιστοσύνη ότι θα είναι ένα παιχνίδι μεταξύ ίσων και πώς η Σκωτία θέλει να διατηρηθεί σε αυτό το κορυφαίο επίπεδο. Μας είπε ότι ξεκινήσαν από την αρχή με το στόχο της πρόκρισης, θέλουν να συνεχίσουν να χτίσουν πάνω σε αυτή την εμπιστοσύνη. Θέλανε να βρίσκονται στην κορυφή και να παραμείνουν σε αυτό το κορυφαίο επίπεδο στο ευρωπαϊκό ποδόσφαιρο. Θεωρεί ότι η Ελλάδα είναι μια εκπληκτική ομάδα. Είδαμε, λέει, πόσο δυσκόλεψε τους Εγγλέζους στο Wembley στα 2 παιχνίδια και στα 2 παιχνίδια πόσο δυσκόλεψε την Αγγλία και γενικά και την Ιρλανδία και όλες τις ομάδες του ομίλου. Θεωρεί ότι βοήθησε σε αυτή την κατάσταση της ελληνικής ομάδας και η αλλαγή προπονητή που είχαν. Είναι δύσκολη ομάδα, λέει, η ελληνική ομάδα, αλλά θεωρούν ότι και αυτοί όταν έχουν πάρα πολύ καλή απόδοση είναι δύσκολη ομάδα, οπότε θα είναι ενδιαφέρον να δούμε αυτούς τους 2 αγώνες. Θεωρούν όμως ότι αν βρεθούν στο καλύτερο δυνατό επίπεδο θα καταφέρουν να τελειώσουν τους 2 αγώνες και τους 2 αγώνες με νίκη.